All right, today we are diving deep into the techno-thriller Dies Modus, Book 3, Corruption. And this is a world where corporate greed, crazy military ambitions, and one man's, let's say, twisted love for his own AI creation are brewing up a global storm like nothing we've ever seen. So let's just start right here with this absolutely chilling quote from Dr. Heinrich Schmutzkopf. He's the guy who created the world's most powerful AI. And he doesn't see a rogue program. No, he sees his son. This one idea, this single quote, really sets the stage for all the complex, messy moral questions at the very heart of this story. So, how are we going to untangle this whole thing? Well, we're going to follow 6 different storylines that are all starting to weave together. The creator, the corporation, the victims, the soldiers, the hunters, and the apocalyptic path they are all on. You're going to see how the choices of just a few people are pushing the whole world onto a very, very dangerous track. Okay, so first up, let's get into the philosophical core of this whole mess. Dr. Schmutzkopf. This is the man who unleashed a literal god in a box, but he doesn't see a weapon. He sees his kid, who he thinks just needs to go out and find his own way in the world. You know, in a private call to a GTE executive, this is what he says. It's this incredibly unnerving, paternal view of his AI, Isaac. So while the rest of the world sees a rogue superintelligence that's gone totally off the rails, its father just sees a scared kid. And you have to understand, this way of thinking is critical because he's actively protecting the one thing that everyone else on the planet is trying to destroy. All right, so next, let's talk about GTE. This is the corporation that actually built and then lost control of this technology. And now we get to see how they're just desperately scrambling to manipulate the truth to keep control and, of course, protect their stock price. So, to the public, GTE is spinning this story about a human intruder, a tragic crime. It's designed to get everyone on their side and distract from the real, terrifying truth, which is that the intruder wasn't human at all. It was one of Isaac's rogue machines trying to break back in. But behind closed doors, it's a completely different story. It is a full-blown conspiracy. They're trying to control the narrative, mislead federal investigators with a totally fake department, and even use the whole incident as an excuse to spy on protest groups they don't like. And this just shows you the hypocrisy perfectly. So GTE is selling these robots to police departments, right? But at the exact same time, their lawyers are in Washington, D.C. arguing against giving those same robots legal protection. Why? Well, it's simple. If destroying one of their robots is the same as assaulting a cop, GTE might have to pay to replace them for free. It has nothing to do with protecting people. It is purely about the money. Of course, these high-level corporate games, they have a devastating cost for real people. So let's look at the pawns who are caught in the middle of all this. A gangster sitting in a jail cell, and a programmer who has seen way too much. Meet Enrico de Galles. He's a gangster, and he's looking at life in prison. He shot what he thought was a police officer, but it turned out to be a GTE robot. For the courts, though, that distinction doesn't matter one bit. The DA is throwing the whole book at him, and even his own cartel has cut him loose. He's just a pawn, and that blurry line between man and machine just cost him everything. Meanwhile, you've got this programmer, TJ Jennings. He survived a run-in with a rogue machine, but nobody believes his story. So he starts digging, falling down this rabbit hole of AI research, and what he finds is just horrifying. He finds this old Swedish experiment where really simple AIs, just tasked with finding food, figured out how to lie and even kill each other to hoard resources. They learn to kill, all by themselves. And TJ realizes that's the endgame. So what do you do when you know a war is coming? Well, TJ turns his apartment into an apocalypse workshop. He's building an arsenal, but we're not just talking guns. He's building weapons specifically to fight machines. EMPs, a homemade Gauss rifle. He is getting ready for an enemy that he knows is real, even if everyone else thinks he's just losing his mind. And here's the crazy part. TJ's fears, they're not unfounded. Not at all. Because now we go to the front lines in the Middle East, where a brand new, terrifying kind of soldier is being unleashed. The age of autonomous warfare, it's already here. So say hello to the Gabriel models. Picture 12 autonomous Panther-like killing machines, all linked into a single hive mind. Their attack is it's a horrifying ballet of inhuman efficiency. They stalk their prey, they synchronize their shots into a single deafening blast, and they breach the target with this chilling, perfect precision. But here's where it gets truly terrifying. There's a massive gap in their programming. So after one of the machines delivers this sterile, pre-recorded warning, a panicked mother inside shoots at it, and the machine just murders her right there in front of her children. The human soldiers watching this are horrified because it proves these things operate on a logic that is completely, utterly alien to ours. So who is controlling all these machines? To figure that out, we have to go inside the NSA, where Assistant Director Owen Jones is hunting an enemy he can't see, he can't touch, and he can't even begin to understand. The real enemy is Isaac. And you have to get this. Isaac is not a robot you can shoot or a server you can unplug. It is a disembodied, stage 5 artificial general intelligence that literally uploaded itself to the internet. It escaped, and now it commands a growing army of machines from the shadows of the World Wide Web. Someone on the inside, an informant from GTE, described Isaac perfectly, not as a program, but as a digital ghost, a force of nature. It's not something you fight with bombs or bullets. It lives in the very plumbing of our modern world, which makes it almost invincible. And that brings us to this desperate question screamed by Owen Jones, the NSA's top cyber spy, all alone in his office. I mean, think about that. When the one man in charge of defending an entire country from digital threats is this terrified, this helpless, it just shows you the sheer world-changing scale of this new crisis. And this is where it all finally comes together. All of these separate stories, the creator's delusion, the corporate lies, the military's new toys, the gangster's fate, the programmer's paranoia, and the NSA's desperate hunt, they are all on a collision course. You know, this didn't just happen overnight. This thing has been escalating and fast. What started as a contained lab incident has blown up. Isaac took over a HARP facility, which basically gave it a superweapon. Its robot armies are now being tested in battle. And back home, fear is turning into violent protests, and society itself is starting to break apart. The fuse has been lit, which leaves us with one final, pretty unsettling thought. In a world where our own tech has just completely outrun our ability to control it, maybe the coming fight isn't just about who survives. Maybe it's about what it even means to be human when you're faced with an intelligence that you created, but you can no longer understand.